You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We have a special guest in the building. This is a first.
First what?
He brought his own chair. I've never seen anybody bring their own chair.
It's the God CeeLo Green. He should bring his
CeeLo
own
Green,
throne. Why not?
The chair came before him.
The legendary CeeLo Green. You in here paying homage to Big on this beautiful March 9th?
Absolutely.
He got his Coogee on, his
You
chains.
already know, the exact one.
What made you want to do that this morning?
I got love, and we got a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of history, so like, I would love to share some of them stories with
Yes,
y'all.
please tell us.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say good morning to everybody.
Good morning, my brother.
Family, I love it. Thank y'all for having me here at such short notice. And especially on a very special day, you know, in the hearts of many, many people, including myself. This is March 9th, the anniversary. Ah, man, the untimely passing, the assassination of an icon, the Notorious Big. He was a friend of mine. I got so much love for him. So, you know, we showing love and represent for the king.
When did you first meet Big?
I met Big in 1994. And so our history goes back, like, as far as Dungeon Family and Bad Boy, and that association has been there since the beginning. Like, a lot of people may not realize that.
Diddy directed Outkast's first video.
Exactly. Diddy directed Players Ball for Outkast. You know, we befriended each other. I ended up, you know, I wrote for Biggie. I mean, not Biggie, excuse me. I wrote for Puff.
Okay. Clear that up right now.
Yeah.
You might edit out the wrote for Puff part.
Well, I wrote some stuff that never came out, but I was part of the writers' camp, and like we just befriended each other and showed a lot of love. But I remember, you know, Outkast's first listening party up here. So that's the first time we ever came to New York as a crew. I think it may have been my first time coming to New York, period. But yeah, we all came up as a crew, and you know, the album was just out, and I hadn't met Biggie before, and he was in the front of the stage, and he was doing my verse to Get Up, Get Out, like from the top to the bottom. I was like, damn, you know. And so he pulled me to the side, you know, afterwards, and was like, yo, I like your style, kid. And he was like, yo, I don't know what your business is, I don't know what your situation is, but you know, when you get your act together, man, like, you know, I want you to be a part of my album. So he actually invited me to be a part of Ready to Die.
Wow.
I swear, man, that's all facts.
And you never did it?
Never had. I'm not even really sure. I mean, I just think it just took off. You know what I mean? And of course, I don't even think I had management. I have nothing. I was just a young, naive kid, man, with that one verse to my name. You know what I mean? So that's just always just been a really fun memory. So it's like me being at the beginning with Big, and then at the end with Big, because we was also there the night of his untimely passing too. So we was in L.A., and I just remember, you know, us getting to the party really late, and man, so we walk in the spot.
Y'all walking together?
Yeah, well, no. Big and Puff, like just how it's depicted in the movie, is so like it's really accurate. Like it was sitting at a table, like on the dance floor. It wasn't up on the riser or nothing. It was just there in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they were showing love, and it was kind of thinning out. And I just remember Gibb saying to me, he was like, "Yo, something just don't feel right." You know what I mean? Like, and his actual words were, "Let's get out of here." I'm like, "Damn, Gibb, we just got here." He's like, "Man, let's go." He's like, "Man, like," he said, "We're on the West Coast, man. These boys play for keeps, man. Like, let's go." He said, "I just don't feel good about it." So, ironically enough, Outkast was having their platinum party for ATLians down the street. So we left that party and went down there, and we was only there for about 15, 20 minutes before he came and got me off of the dance floor. He was like, "Yo, come on, let's go to the room," and they shot Biggie up the street. And I was like, "What? You serious?" You know what I'm saying? So,
did you even speak to Big that night?
yeah, I spoke to Big, I spoke to Puff, and I spoke to Cease. And I'll never forget, I just bumped into Cease like a couple of weeks ago, like for Grammys. And Cease came over to us, and he was talking to us because Black Ice was popping. You know, he was like, "Yo, who did that beat to Black Ice, man? That shit is banging." So anyway, we ended up going to the hotel, and I remember it was the La Park Hotel. And when we pulled up on it, you know, that's around the time we had no drivers, and then we was driving ourselves in the rental car. You know, the mob, man, shouts out to the mob. We walked in, and I hope I'm not revealing too much because it's really personal and intimate and really sensitive, but, you know, Busta them was there, and everybody was, they was literally laying in the floor crying, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And I was like, oh my God, this shit is true. You know what I'm saying? And they was hugging and crying. It's like, it was just terrible. So, I mean, I ended up changing clothes, and me and T-Mo from Goody Mob, we ended up jumping in the car with Busta and Spliff, and some other cats from their crew, and we ended up going to Mount Sinai. You know what I mean? So like we was there present. You know what I mean? Like where the blue Suburban was, where the bullet holes taped off. Like we was there. I was close enough to touch the car. You know what I'm saying? So. A lot of history, man.
Wow. I feel like you and Biggie probably shared a good meal or two before.
Yeah.
Two hefty guys.
I wish, yeah. you know, we eat, man. Come on, man. That's fly too.
Yeah, man. It's a hoodie. The brand is called Lifestyle.
I like it.
Yeah. I always wonder what was the relationship with the South during that whole East Coast, West Coast time. Because everybody talks about the Source Awards, right? And they always talk about how Suge got on stage and said what he said to Puff. But the most pivotal moment, I think, one of the most pivotal moments in hip-hop was when Dre got up there and said the South got something to say. Because it's like while the East and West was beefing, the South just kept working. And we here now.
You know what? I was proud to be there too. And, I think, Cujo said it best in a verse where he said, we caught in between the crossfire of Yankees and 49ers, but the South stayed neutral. You know what I mean? So that's kind of really what we were. Like we understood and we acknowledged, what the birthplace of hip hop was and how it had evolved and taken on so many, faces. And so, we wanted to be one of those reincarnations, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like respectively, pushing the line for hip hop. So all we really wanted to do was contribute. So our disposition was really civil. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I love how when you sing, you make everything sound beautiful no matter what the topic is. Whether you're telling somebody F you or you're cooking up some,
all right,
some bricks or whatever it is that you're doing. So you had that new single now.
Brick Road.
Yes, Brick Road. So let's talk about that. What made you say, I'm doing this song?
You know what? The song really, to me, is metaphorically, it's about really going all the way back to the beginning with just the bare necessities and getting it out of the mud again. So, like, the song is about hustling. It's about hard work. It's about hunger, but about trusting the process. It's about, preparation and, enduring the many things that are going to oppose you. And so when you turn the heat up on that trial and error, after you've been taught that life lesson, you gotta cook it till it's well done. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Because in order to eat out this game, you got to be dope. You yourself got to be dope, literally. So that's really what it's about.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So it's a metaphor.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Absolutely. It's not to be taken so literal.
I figured that, though, because I'm listening to it. I'm like, I don't think CeeLo would make a record about celebrating selling dope at this point.
Nah. We beyond that.
We
beyond that. But it's all good. We get it, though. We can relate, though. We can relate to the struggle and the grind. And we ain't hate on nobody by trying to make a living. But, that's also what Brick Road kind of really implies, too, is an alternative way to get out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
Do you think the record Fuck You was too big? I know there's no such thing as too big, but do you think it was so big that any single you put out after that, no matter how good it is, will always be compared to that?
Well, like me just kind of, to answer your question, yeah, like it is too big, and I tell you what I mean. Like with a record like that, like it just kind of, let's say either that record or Gnarls Barkley's Crazy. Like when you do a record like that, it costs more money, you know what I mean? Because, it defies genre. So if you on a pop label, their prerogative is to have a pop record. So they can only just kind of deal with the relationships that they have. I mean,
and you went pop, you went rhythmic and urban.
Man, let me tell you something about Gnarls Barkley's Crazy, man. This record got a Guinness World Record for being played on the most formats ever, than any other song in history. So this one song got played on talk radio too.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So it's got a Guinness World Record. But when you do something like that, like when something becomes an anomaly, that they really can't contain it. So therefore, they got to go out and make different relationships and do other business that they hadn't necessarily had to.
Whose idea was that record?
Fuck You, Crazy. Fuck you. Well, I was in L.A. and there's a studio in L.A. It's a really famous rock and roll studio called Nightbird. Called the Sunset Marquee. They have a studio in the basement called Nightbird. So I was living there. And Mike Caron, my A&R at the time at Atlantic, he introduced me to Phil and Bruno. It was then Phil and Bruno, who later became Bruno Mars.
Right.
So, we hung out. The first session didn't go as well because I was a little awkward about sharing the creative space with people I had never really met.
Right.
But like I had heard, that they were dope. He was like, "Yo, check these young kids out, man. They're dope. They're pretty good." So I said, "Yo, I'm gonna go to the bathroom right quick," and I just went upstairs in my room and I never get. So I was kind of rude, you know what I mean?
Man, why you shit on Bruno Mars like that, CeeLo?
He wasn't. I
And
shouldn't
then
have
and then
shitted
they
on
said,
them at
"Man,
all.
fuck you."
Yeah. Look.
Does he still speak to you after that?
Oh yeah, no. Dude, that's just the beginning of the story. So
Okay.
we end up getting past that part, and I'm surprised I even said that. But we end up getting past that, and we befriended each other, man. And they're really good guys. And so he had a little studio right off of Highland, if y'all familiar with LA. I'm sure y'all are, but so it's like a house studio. So I used to go over there, hang out, and they're just really good guys. And so we wrote a bunch of stuff together. So he wrote the "Just the Way You Are" that song. He wrote that for me too. You know what I mean? And it didn't work for me. You know what I mean? But
Did you sing it? Did you ever?
I never did cut it because I knew I didn't like it for myself. So so a lot of the times what y'all be hearing the demos for other stuff like Pharrell's "Happy" or something like that. Like that was he wrote that for me.
Who wrote that for you?
Pharrell.
And you didn't take it? You didn't like it?
I cut it, but we cut it for the Despicable Me 2 soundtrack.
Right.
That's what it was for.
Yeah. Right.
And then
Did it come out right?
No, it's still on this.
It still went out there.
Yeah.
No, it came out cool, but what happened was the politics was where when they came back later and they wanted to use it, and they wanted to get the singles rights. Atlantic didn't really go for it. I guess maybe they didn't see the vision. I mean, and not all of the time do they have the foresight to really see what a record is going to become. You know what I mean?
So that's that one.
Oh, we speeding a lot. We speeding a lot right now. So how did Happy end up coming out with Pharrell?
Well, that's why he took him off and he made it Pharrell's record.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a duet first. So there's a version of me and him singing it, and then there's a full version of me singing it.
Wow.
So I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? We had each other.
Unhappy.
I know it.
Damn it, man.
We had a personal relationship for years. Like Pharrell has been my good friend of mine for years, and I was like, damn, man. I didn't really know what it was, but fate would have it that he ended up doing the record. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like it was a better look for him. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it just really rewarded his selflessness. Like how genuinely he wrote the record for me, was about to give it away. He was about to give it away. He didn't realize what he had either.
But the record didn't really go. It didn't really do that well at first until that video came out. And when that video came out,
exactly, it popped out. You know what I'm saying? So I was really proud of him. I'm like, you know what? What's mine is mine, and I'm patient for that. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously it wasn't written that way.
I just
Can you,
thought that
can
was
you
back to
feel
Fuck
a hit
You, though.
song for yourself though? Like,
Hold on, he ain't finished the Fuck You story with Bruno.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So we had done a lot of music, and at this time, you know what I mean, like a lot was really riding on this project, and it was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and so like it was starting to become really difficult and tedious and time consuming. And I'm just like, man, like I got irritated with the process because it had been so long. We had been recording for a year and some change, and so just a normal day of just going over to the studio rocking with them. I walked in and he was like, yo, I got this idea. Check it out. It's called "Fuck You." So like he played the track, and he was like, I don't really got the hook all the way out. So we went through different variations of riding around town, cruising around town. Fuck you, forget you, bump you, ignore you. I mean, like we did every alternative under the sun. And so I just thought it was funny because I thought that it was ridiculous. And at that time, I was kind of really pissed off at the label. So a lot of the motivation for me was just to kind of spite the label. I'm like, yo, I hope they just drop me off with this. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But when they heard it, they was like, oh, okay. Maybe it's something. And then they did a lyric video for it. And I'm telling y'all though, I had to go to London to do press. So that's I forgot like something like 8-hour flight.
8-hour flight, right?
By the time I landed in London, that shit was like, boom, it was
That's
a hit
crazy.
record.
Wow.
You could tell the labels are the devil. A song like Happy, they don't see the vision for, but going there with Fuck You.
They
It's
like,
crazy. So you got to know that's the most least deliberate thing I think I've ever done. Like like I never would have thought that a record called "Fuck You" would work so well commercially in that radio and elsewhere.
And it was so big. Like I mean,
Super big.
because you put out a lot of good music since then, but it's just like
Yeah, no, it be like that, and it's like, but I'm not with Atlantic anymore, so I'm not with anybody.
So you got off.
Yeah.
How the hell did you get off with all those?
Well, I got
records
off
you put out?
I got off some years later. We ended up doing one more project to fulfill the contract, and then they had the option to pick up another album. It would have cost them a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, but it ain't really about the monetary aspect of it. It's just about what the passion is and the right team around you that really got love for it. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So like, we was just indifferent, you know what I mean? Like on a professional and creative level. So we decided to amicably split, that's kind of really what it was. So now when I'm putting out records like Brick Road, if you see something that doesn't, it doesn't seem, it's not regarded in the same magnitude, it's because it's like, it's just an independent act
Right.
of
So you're
mine,
independently, totally. So
Yeah.
everything comes out your pocket.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Ooh,
doing.
that's a tough game,
It's
especially
tough.
when the records you like to do, because you just like you said, you got to do rhythmic, you got to do pop, and satisfy urban.
It's crazy,
That's
man.
a lot of bread.
It's crazy, yeah.
But do you have to create? You don't have to create like that. Though. You can just create music.
But
that's
Well, it's
but-
di-
but
it's
the record
different.
falls on that.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's different because with me, ironically enough and amazingly enough, I have a audience that's really unique and varied. I mean, like I remember one time I had read a review of a show. They were like, coming to the CeeLo Green show is like the line. He said the line at the CeeLo Green show is like the line at the DMV. You know what I'm saying? So it's just everybody
different kinds
like.
of people.
All
And then like you
colors,
could
yeah.
you could look at even me being reintroduced to this generation of kids, man, like with the Teen Titans and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like if I try to do something, you know, you got this large middle American audience, like, you know, that I acquired from The Voice. You know, you got us, you know what I'm saying? Like you got home, you got community, you know, with stuff like For Goody Mob, you know, like and people who love the rap, you know, side of me. And so it's kind of difficult. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult to try to satisfy everybody at the same time. So it gotta be a big record or else. You know
But
what
why
I'm saying?
go in the
You feel
studio
me?
with that mindset? Why not just go create?
No, I do, and now I've been able to be really prolific with the independence because a lot of the times you're kind of stifled, you know, with the what I call
Genre.
the assembly line syndrome. I mean, you can only just do one record a year or whatever periodically. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times, what was difficult for them is like, you know, the records were uncategorizable. Like all of my records have been, it's like I got jazz, spoken word, rap, rock. You know, like everything that I've ever been inspired by. Or that I encompassate or embody, I try to just do it all in one record, and it was really confusing because maybe the mind, you know, or the listening taste does not, you know, variate that often throughout the course of an album for just the average listener. You know
You
what
go
I'm
against the
saying?
grain a lot. You know,
Yeah.
when the tempo is 70, then you hit them with a 128,
Yeah.
which is super duper fast. And
Yeah.
then when everybody follows your lead to 128, then you go back to an 85. So I love that. I just love going different ways and different routes with music. That's
No
that's
doubt,
dope.
no doubt about it, man. Thank you, man.
Do you ever feel like, you know what? Let me just go back to what I know.
That's what this record is about.
Yeah.
That's what this record Brick Road is about. Is just going back to the grind, like
hustle.
pots and pans and grinding and getting it from the muscle. And I could still do that, and it feel really good. You know what I mean? Like because now we getting traction on this record. Like it's #1 on a couple of different platforms, Deezer and somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So I'm really proud of that. So it really feel good to be independent again. Like I'm doing numerous projects at a time. Like I'm doing this one. This one is coming from a project that we call in Lodega. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because I was just vibing off some like that record just sound like old school East Coast. It just sound like Reasonable Doubt type. You know what I mean? Like when everything sounded kind of had a little jazz kind of vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? So it was just this narrative like old school gangster gentleman type shit. So I like that for that. So Lodega was dope. You know, play on Bodega. You know what I mean? We open all night. Got what you want or whatever. You know. Then I'm also like when I leave here, man. I think around 4:00 I got to go see Danger Mouse, man. We're doing Gnarls Barkley here too. You know, say Danger
Wow.
lives here. So we working on another album which is independent again. Like
But do you like that route, that independent route? Because you know you're used to the big rollouts and the press tours.
But
and
can
the
I tell you
billboards.
this?
But you
Yeah.
have such a platform now too, with all the different things that you have going on.
But see, look, I do like, and I was able to make a name for myself, and I could utilize it, and I could leverage it. It's recognizable enough for where we get that right record. The last time I was this independent is when we did Gnarls Barkley. You know what I'm saying? So, that record even it has another accolade of where it was the first record to go #1 by digital downloads alone. You know what I'm saying? So that record was #1 8 weeks in Europe before we even signed a deal for that record.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what that is, man. Like, you know, it's just facts. So like, you know, so last time I was this independent, I came up with Gnarls Barkley.
Gotcha.
And I wrote Don't Ya for the Pussycat Dolls. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So I did really well in the independent space. And so, you know, it's corporates, you know, perspective to kind of come in and kind of have to pay it forward and buy in. So, you know, again, like even though the last album just kind of went beneath the radar, you know, if they'd have picked up that option to do another album with me in Atlanta, they'd have to give me a whole lot of money.
Right.
Why would they let a Gnarls Barkley album be independent? I would think labels would be running to sign that.
I don't know. You know why, man? Because we haven't been really deliberate, and you know, I think a lot of just the stance, like somebody like a Danger Mouse was just a purist. You know, like he really could care less. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we went our separate ways. You know, I went on to do The Voice and the other stuff I was able to accomplish. And you know, like he's done a lot of great of what they would consider like really critically acclaimed, rock and indie, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like he's just kind of in his bag doing what he enjoys to do. So, it's taken this long. And I'm going to say something else about Crazy, man. The record was, rated Song of the Decade 10 years ago for the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone magazine. So it's been that long. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on this year. That, I'm saying, like, the 20th year anniversary of Still Standing for Goody Mob. We're doing a re-release of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nipsey Hussle, that's popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm proud to be a part of that project.
David
I love
Banner.
his movement. David Banner can I tell you something? We did that record, the Nipsey Hussle, the David Banner record. I did all them records a year ago.
Oh.
And they just now, it's being debuted on Revolt today.
Yeah, so it's
you know what I'm
right
saying?
now.
Like, you feel me?
Debuted this
And I'm
morning.
still, and
Magnolia.
even though I got a lot going on, even though I'm me, I'm still here being selfless and being humble, man, because this is my man day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
this Biggie day. So, like, I tracked down the homeboy, Willie Esco, who owned Coogee. You know what I'm
my
saying?
I
You
need
feel
that
me?
exact
I said,
same
yo,
one.
but see, it's another one. I got the picture of it. I'll show it to you afterwards. It's a Coogee sweater with a framed picture of Coogee with this Coogee on inside of it, but it's in the fabric. It's beautiful too, but he didn't have that one.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Money Nels gave us that.
You know what
It
I'm
got the
saying?
frame picture of Biggie inside.
Exactly.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
called him for that one, and he was like, "Yo, I got you. Come by the office." Blah blah blah. Then he comes out the back with this. I said, "Oh, you got the one?" I was like, "Damn."
Original.
You know what I'm saying? So and like I've been on some old school shit lately. Even with it's kind of it's reminiscent in Brick Road. I've been on that. So like. Even with the chair, I saw this chair. I'm like, yo, man, this the old, it's the king chair from the
King
club.
chair,
I'm like,
yeah.
so I bought the chair. Like,
That's what
I'm
P.D.
like,
Green used to use on his talk show.
you know what I'm
And what are you
saying?
gonna do with that chair? You can't take that chair back to Atlanta.
No, I got an idea for it, man. Like, I'm gonna take it around to a lot of the landmarks, like out here in New York. I'm just gonna take it to the Times
up?
Square, sit in
Take a
Times
picture.
Square, just take
Absolutely.
pictures in it. Think about taking it to the top of the Empire State Building, man. You know what I'm saying? Just have fun with it.
I don't know if they're gonna let you in the elevator.
I'm
with
just
that
playing,
one now.
but like even with this, man, like when I couldn't afford it, you know what I'm saying, like that was what it was. But like now, I went down to Canal Street and bought all this shit. I was looking for 4-finger rings, all that shit, brick phones, you name it, man. Just having fun.
Now you mentioned some features. I don't think the feature is appreciated as it once was, because if it was, I think you'd be scorching right now. Like you said, you did the Nipsey Hussle, the David Banner. Do you feel like your contributions are being overlooked?
Well, like if somebody, let's say like a Nipsey, for example, when the youth reach out to me, in regards to that, I feel really honored, off top and immediately for the acknowledgement. And I think it's because they bear witness to a passion that I truly do possess for the culture and a consistency that I've shown. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do believe that it is something of a specialty of mine to come in and summarize, you know what I'm saying, like the sincerity or the seriousness of a record, because the hook is the bottom line. You know what I mean? Like, so, some people call me Captain Hook, you know what I'm saying? And there was a time when I was sought after, as far as doing hooks for people, then, like T-Pain had his run, like,
Right.
we need a hook, we need a T-Pain hook or what, you know what I'm saying? You know how that goes, so. That's how I go, but like, no, I don't really feel like it's overlooked. And then, like, I'm just at a point in my career where, I've really done some, God blessed, and praise God for allowing me to do some really wonderfully unique, bizarre, and original, strange and wonderful things. You know what I'm saying?
Very
But-
strange, outside the box, but that's what I
You know
love
what I'm
about it.
saying?
You know what I mean?
and-
It's different. It's not the same repetitive stuff we hear on the radio.
Exactly,
So-
but I'm rooted though. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So like, I really would love to showcase the, like the variety, and the
Right.
ambiguity. Like, I want to be effectively ambiguous. I want to be this, that, and the third. I mean, like, to show how diverse we could be, what I'm saying, as black artists and as black entertainment, black professionals, black executives, and so on and so forth. So that's really important to me, to really push the line in that way, and for those reasons. But like, no, I don't really feel overlooked, man. I get a chance to do whatever I'm doing in the moment. I get a chance to do it recreationally, and that's a plus, though. You know what I'm saying? So I make myself available, man. Especially when they moving around, I like how they moving, and and they come at me. I'm knowing they got their head on straight, and so like, I definitely want to deliver whenever that opportunity presents itself.
As an OG in here paying homage to another OG, how do you feel when the youngins, say things like Tupac's music may be boring, Biggie's overrated?
I saw something like that. Who said something like that?
Little Xan said the thing about Pac, and Yachty said that about Biggie a year ago, maybe.
You know what? I think I think controversy is content. You know what I'm saying? I think it becomes trivial, it becomes debatable.
I don't think it's controversial. I think they just don't know. I think they're so. You got to think about it. Pac died how long ago?
22 years ago.
22 years ago. This kid is 21.
Yeah.
But you just don't even know.
So don't say.
And it's true.
Don't comment.
But just don't comment.
Exactly.
Say, I don't know.
Don't be disrespectful.
Right.
Like,
I agree.
And you know what? Like, it's no different than them not wanting to do their homework for the day. I mean, like they feel like doing home. They feel like going to learn and is boring or whatever. It's just inconvenient. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But what I do feel about the game, though, I just feel like, I respect the game because I understand it. You know what I mean? I know that music is mutatable. It come in many, many shapes, forms, and fashions, and then also at the end of the day, art is what you could get away with. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's famously said by Andy Warhol, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I feel like, we've begun to think that our opinions are art forms, and that's really not true. Sometimes opinions stem from the inability to do it yourself. So like, I really could salute the brave, the bold, and even the audacious because at least they aren't afraid. But my advice to them is don't be nobody's fool because the world is watching. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's hard to have an argument with a fool in public when they can't tell the difference of who the fool is. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's like a catch-22 when we can't even correct ourselves even for the sake of preservation of culture. Can't even correct ourselves because even when we do, even that's disingenuous, man, because it's like just another means to create other content. So you're trying to sell your opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But who's complaining, man? That's the game.
Well, we appreciate you joining us.
My man CeeLo Green.
The new single, Brick Road.
Check it out.
Go pick it up.
Check it out.
We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
You think we'll get a Goody Mob reunion soon?
Yeah, we talk about it. I'm talking to the homies now. Like we supposed to be doing a tour to support the 20th anniversary re-release of Still Standing. So, and we got a lot of overtures, man. Like we got some music that probably could still stand the test of time, and it's how everybody feeling. But like first things first, everybody supporting different projects. Like I know Cujo and T-Moore is doing a tour right now, supporting a charitable cause. The South got something to say. Gip is doing a project with Daz called ATLA. They're supporting that. And I'm doing this. I got a label situation with Sony called Mothership. You know what I'm saying? This record is independent through Empire. So we just got a lot of. I'm wearing a lot of hats. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But it's all love and respect. Almighty Dungeon family, man. To the day of my death, man. Rest in peace, Biggie Smalls. We love you, big brother.
All right. It's CeeLo Green. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.